Hey everyone, Ivo once again. Welcome everyone back for another movie review. And of course, today I'm gonna talk and review the third sequel in the Mission Impossible franchise, and that's going to be Mission Impossible 3, the third sequel, and that's the third sequel, which I do have the Blu-ray here, and which came out 25th April in 2006, London premiere. It's and also the same year that this movie was released, we also got the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift the same year, and they're both good movies. But this is actually what I'm talking about. That's how we do a movie. That's how we do a movie. Mission Impossible movies are actually a spy espionage thrillers mixed with action, not sci-fi action movies that John Woo fucked up. John Woo suck as director for Mission Impossible movie. He has no clue and he's incompetent to do movie reviews. I mean, he's incompetent to do movies, you know. But yeah, this is how we do a movie. This is actually my second favorite. And it's a kick-ass, entertaining espionage spy thriller mixed with action. It's a kick-ass sequel. It's true sequel to the original film. It's improvement over the second movie that was lame. And it's my second favorite. I love this movie to death. This is actually my second favorite, one of my personal favorite action films. Definitely I put this movie in top 100 action films. And Tom Cruise is still a king. He's still the king of action movies, and this is how we do a movie. You know, by the way, this is the back. Love this movie, incredible to death. This is also the disc. Mission Impossible 3 came out 2006. Directed by J.J. Abrams. This is actually his first movie that he actually did. Before that, J.J. Abrams was only known for TV shows. He created The Lost, he created Alias, and he was hired and recommended by Tom Cruise after he saw his TV show Alias, the first season on DVD. Yeah, the sequel sucked, but Tom Cruise wanted to do this film. But this movie caused a delay because Tom Cruise was filming at the time War of the Worlds, I think was War of the Worlds, and yeah, that movie caused a delay for the production of this movie till summer 2005. And Tom Cruise that time, I think was June or was July, June 17, 2005. Tom Cruise proposed the actress and his girlfriend at the time. Then later she became fiance Katie Holmes on Eiffel Tower in Paris in June 17, 2005. And yeah, and this movie really, I mean, that movie, War of the Worlds, caused a delay of the production until late summer for this movie. So that's why it was released on 25th April in London premiere. And this is how you do a movie. And I know because I saw interview that time when Tom Cruise was preparing for filming the third sequel in the Mission Impossible franchise. And this movie actually became a big hit, but it was improvement over the second movie, but sadly did made less money than the second one. Because this movie was $150 million. You know, the budget was $150 million for the third movie. This movie cost more than the second one. The second one was only $125 million. This was $150 million, while the first budget movie was $80 million. But made less money than the second one. The second movie made more money, but it was abomination completely. I think I did wrote somewhere down. The sequel, actually Mission Impossible 2, the sequel, it made $546 million, $500 million. The second movie made, and it was a bullshit movie. It was a completely abomination because it was a piece of shit movie. I rented yesterday that movie. This movie made less money than the second one. It made $398 million, almost $400 million, almost, because the sequel still surpassed the third movie. But who fucking cares? Because I'm not gonna compete with the budget. But I'm gonna talk why this movie is epic as fuck and why Tom Cruise kicks still ass, and this movie is still a kick-ass movie. You know, fuck John Woo and his lame, shitty movie, excuse of a film, Mission Impossible 2. Fuck that movie. This is improvement. This is how you do a movie. And yeah, like I said, director has been J.J. Abrams, because after Tom Cruise saw his TV show Alias, the first season DVD, he asked him if, and this is actually his first big budget movie that he directed, and J.J. Abrams did a great direction. This is actually my favorite movie that he did. He did later Star Wars films. I hated Star Wars. I think was The Force Awakens. I hated that movie. I rented on IMDb when it came out back in 2015. But this is how you do a movie. This is J.J. Abrams' best movie. He did great direction. He did competent. He was better than John Woo. You know, I love John Woo movies. You know, I love those two movies. You know, Broken Arrow, Hard Target. You know, both of those movies. You know, about Demolition Man and about GoldenEye. I love both of them. But Mission Impossible 2 wasn't his right direction. You know, he fucked up. He lost his touch. He didn't give a fuck about it. He just mixed it with sci-fi and action because it does not belong. Sci-fi and action in Mission Impossible movies does not belong, because the TV show was not an action. It was actually a spy TV show, and that's why John Woo completely fucked up. He went a completely different direction, and he fucked up, and he made a boring, lame excuse of a film. So Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner produced this movie. This is Paula Wagner's last movie, because the owner of the Paramount Productions with Paula Wagner did not renew his contract. So this is actually her last time serving as a producer, because she produced the first, the second, and this movie, the third one. But this movie kicks ass. I mean, I'll get to action, and this is gonna be a long review, 15 minutes long review, because you know what, this movie deserves it. One of my favorite action movies of all time. It's not in top 10, top 20, but it's definitely in top 50, because I really enjoy this movie. But Mission Impossible 3 kicks ass. Also, let's see, what else have I missed about the film. Well, I'll get into later. Yeah, Tom Cruise did majority of all his stunts. He did all of his stunts. This film, most of them were done without major injury. He cracked a couple of ribs once when he turned his upper torso too quickly, but that was awesome. He did all the stunts. Before I continue this reviewing this film and go to the story and the cast, I wanna give something out. Rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Rest in peace. The actor passed away 2014. He's no longer with us. He played Owen Davian, arms dealer in this movie, the main villain in this movie. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, he passed away. I watched him in Along Came Polly. I watched him in The Hunger Games, which were his last movies that he did before his death. They were released after his death, you know, The Hunger Games sequels. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, I still remember him in Along Came Polly with Alec Baldwin and Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston. That movie, I think, was Amanda Peachy was in that movie too. I really enjoyed. I used to like and love watching comedies. Nowadays I don't watch them anymore. I watch more action movies because that's the channel is for it. But Philip Seymour Hoffman was born 1967, July 23, but sadly passed away February 2, 2014, which he was way too young to die. He acute mixed drug intoxication. I think he took overdose of drug, and sadly he passed away with that. It's really a shame because he was great. And Mission Impossible 3 came out in 2006. That time I was still in high school. I was still visiting a sophomore year. I actually repeated the sophomore year because previous semester I dropped out. I had to sign application again for repeating the class once again. But that time, was also popular when they did 24, another spy TV show. I remember with Kiefer Sutherland. And Mission Impossible 3 came out, and I was really wanting to see Mission Impossible 3, not in movie theater, but I actually went to see, I actually went on a program that I went to download this movie, but it was a fake, it was actually a fake link in which instead that I would watch Mission Impossible 3, I fucking watched a porn film. I deleted right away because they screwed me over. Because those links, the copy links that screwed me over because I wanted to see Mission Impossible 3. I had to drink a little Coke, so... Now, as for Mission Impossible 3, the movie is about it's actually once again hunt for rabbit's foot. I wrote down what actually is rabbit's foot. It was mentioned. It was a biological hazard. It's actually a biological hazard. It's hunt on arms dealer Owen Davian and rabbit's foot, a biological hazard, which is actually a biological weapon. And also the hunt for the mole once again. And Ethan Hunt was retired. Tom Cruise reprised his role as Ethan Hunt, the undefeatable, invincible spy. He returns. He retired. He's now a retired spy. He's now an instructor for young cadets, and he's off the field. He just met a girl, a nurse, Michelle Monaghan. She plays Julia Mate, and like I said, I think was in July, not July. I think was June 17. It was actually in June 17 when Tom Cruise proposed his girlfriend at that time, Katie Holmes. The actress Michelle Monaghan, she looked like Katie Holmes. And this is actually Tom Cruise's idea that his character gets engaged and gets married, and that's awesome. This movie is more serious and it doesn't have a fucking lame music shit score from Hans Zimmer. It has completely different music score because the music score by Michael Giacchino did a great job, and it was Lalo Schifrin's theme for Mission Impossible theme. So Michael Giacchino did a good music score. Not my favorite, memorable like Lalo Schifrin's first music score from the first movie. But this is how we do a Mission Impossible 3. This is how Mission Impossible movie is supposed to be. A spy, espionage thriller, mixed with action, not mixed with sci-fi, and like for the 2 hours nothing happens. This movie, at least it does happen. It's a badass action film. It's a badass film in my opinion. It's a great sequel. It's my second favorite Mission Impossible film. You'll soon find out very soon the first one. But yeah, so Ethan Hunt, once again, awesome, amazing Tom Cruise. He returns. He's now off the field. He's like I said, he's a retired spy agent for IMF. He recruited. He became instructor, and he recruited, and he was a teacher. He was learning young cadets to become an IMF agents. But when one of his agents that he trained and recruited, Lindsay Ferris, played by forgot the actress, but I wrote her down. The actress, I can't remember right now the actress. Kerry Russell, Lindsay Ferris, that's her with Tom Cruise. Lindsay Ferris, as played by Kerry Russell. She in Berlin. She was captured by a group of mercenaries who are torturing her, and Ethan Hunt decides that he goes and he accepts the mission to go and save this girl, to go to rescue mission. And in the open scene we saw interrogation from Owen Davian, who captured that time Julia, girlfriend and fiance. I'm just gonna call her fiance of Ethan, and and he was asking him for the rabbit's foot, and Ethan says, "I give it to you." And we have a torture scene. And when Owen Damian shoots Julia, we don't see that, but the movie. But then we have a logo, Mission Impossible 3, and we see that Ethan is now Ethan enjoyed his life. He got engaged, and he gets called for another mission, which he goes to the store. And I really miss the supermarket. I mean, we have a supermarket scene, a great supermarket scene, and his new boss, his new handler, shows up, and that's another associate. IMF assistant John Musgrave, played by Billy Crudup, returns and gives him a mission because because one of his students, one of his best students, she got kidnapped and captured by terrorists. So they assembling a team of IMF agents to bring the girl back. And Ethan accepts the mission, and we finally see him with motorcycle, driving a motorcycle. This is actually Tom Cruise acting, not like Neo from The Matrix. You know, this is how Tom Cruise acting. If you saw his movie with Tony Scott from 1986, Top Gun, you saw Tom Cruise on a motorcycle driving. This time, he normally drives motorcycle and still shows how Tom Cruise can drive a motorcycle. He's a badass in this movie. And that's this movie is about. And he volunteers himself to go into Berlin to save his student Lindsay. And he goes there, and he goes in the building and shoots all his badass, all the bad guys. You know, his great uniform, great costume, his automatic weapon, Heckler & Koch, and also his new team. None except Luther Stickle, played by Winker Hames. Nobody from the team did return. You know, nobody from the team did actually return except Winker Hames, Luther Stickle. He's the only one that did return. But Ethan Hunt gets new team of the new actress, and that's and of course. That's Jonathan Rhys Meyers as IMF agent Declan Gormley. Sally the actor never returns in any sequel. Maggie Q, IMF agent Zen Lay. That's Maggie Q. Maggie Q, she was in the reboot of Le Femme and Nikita, which I enjoyed the show more than the original. I enjoyed the show, and she was also after this movie. She was in Live Free or Die, Hard Mei Lee, a terrorist, a female terrorist. She was a badass, and Maggie Q was in this movie. I believe she will return, but she said no. So this is the last time we see Maggie Q as IMF agent Zhang Li, and Ethan and his team, they go on a mission. They now all go on a mission in Berlin, and Ethan saves Lindsay, and she asks him to take off the transmitter, and there's no time because they were under fire by bad guys, and Tom Cruise still kicks ass. He saves Lindsay, he throws her a gun, and she goes and fires the bad guy, bang, bang, bang. He uses automatic weapon. In the first movie, he had a gun, but didn't use, but it didn't bother me. But this movie, he used more firepower. He's still a badass in this movie. They go in a helicopter, he saves Lindsay. They go in the helicopter, and they're being chased by another helicopter, and we find out that Lindsay was implanted explosive device in her brain, in her head, in her brain, and Ethan, he tries to save her, so instead to destroy the device, he makes sure that she gets that she dies. And he tries to get her back, but sadly she dies. Sadly the IMF agent Lindsay Ferris dies, and because he couldn't save her, we see a flashbacks on her funeral. How Ethan Hunt was training her to be an IMF agent, and he also guessed. Now Ethan gets actually a mail from Lindsay, which she was sent it, and we also find out that he has now a new Tom Cruise. Ethan Hunt has a new boss. He has now a new boss, and it's played by Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne plays. I think I did not wrote him down. I think I forgot to write him down. Sorry, I did not wrote down Lawrence Fishburne. I guess I forgot to wrote his character down. I apologize, my mistake. But Ethan Hunt has new boss, and that's Lawrence Fishburne from The Matrix, from CSI, season 9 till season 11, from Predators, which I reviewed that movie. Lawrence Fishburne is in all those movies, and he's now Ethan's supervisor in this movie, while Billy Crudup, who plays assistant, John Musgrave, is only assistant. He's only his assistant. But yeah, so now new mission with Ethan team is actually to go into Italy and capture Owen Davian, arms dealer, because they want to know where the rabbit foot is, and they go to Italy. And Ethan and his fellow IMF agent Declan Gormley, they're actually dressed as DHL couriers. I did had in the past. I did had to deal with DHL. They're very expensive. They're actually a fast mail, but they're very expensive. They actually go under the skies. They make a chaos while Ethan Hunt climbs the wall, and then he goes and dresses himself as a priest, which is a badass scene. He climbs, and this is how a spy thriller is supposed to be. John Woo learn how to do a spy thriller. He never will. J.J. Abrams was the right director, right choice, the right choice. At one point, Joe Carnahan, he's supposed to direct this movie, but because of his departure, he left the project. He left the project. And Tom Cruise recommended and asked and hired J.J. Abrams, which was actually his first movie. J.J. Abrams was right choice to be director. He was great choice. Tandy Newton was also asked to reprise her role as Nia Hall, but she said no. On trivia, IMDb says because of her family, something was with her family, but no, it was because she was scared of Tom Cruise. She revealed last year in an interview that Tom Cruise terrorized her on the set, that he was very dominant, that he was very dominant. I wrote down she admitted that Cruise on set behavior scared her because he acted like a very dominant individual. The actress said Cruise's behavior pushed her further into a place of terror. Newton remembered one moment when Cruise was so frustrated with her performance that he made her switch roles with him so he could act out in front of her performance he wanted her to do. That's one of the main reasons why she said no, why she refused to return. And honestly, I'm glad she wasn't in this movie. I don't know the actress, hope she's a nice lady, but I'm glad that she wasn't in this movie, because in my opinion, Michelle Monaghan and Maggie Q from Le Femme et Nikita, Live Free or Die Hard, did a great job. I know she wasn't. I wish she would be. She actually would be the love interest of Ethan Hunt. Sadly, she wasn't. I wish she would be, because she would kick everyone's ass. I wish she would have more to do in this movie. Sadly, she doesn't, and I wish they could return the character in the next sequel, but it won't happen. But Mission Impossible 3 is still a kicks ass. And so now IMF agent Zhang Li shows up with the orange, beautiful Lamborghini Gallardo protagonist. I first thought it was BMW, but it was actually Lamborghini Gallardo protagonist, a beautiful car, Lamborghini, really beautiful orange color, beautiful color. While Ethan and his team are making the mask, you see a special effect, a mask designed for Owen Davian, and of course under disguise of some important ladies, Zhang Li goes and she throws red wine on Owen Davian's suit. He goes on the bathroom. That time Tom Cruise as disguised with a mask shows up, but he needs his voice, so he forced Owen Davian to tell him to read from the card because they needed his voice. So they all go escape. They capture Owen Davian, bring him on the airplane, and they blow the car. And I love when Zhang Li says, such a nice car, and they blow the car. Great practical effect. They go in the boat. You have a great music score from Lalo Schifrin. Great music score, and they all on the boat. Tom Cruise, Maggie Q, Jonathan Ray Meyers, and Winner Hames, Super Stickle. All four, they're actually on the boat. They're driving through the river, and that's how the spy movie is. Now they're actually 3,000 feet in the air, in the airplane, and they want to know who the buyer for the rabbit foot is, but Owen Davian doesn't tell them anything. And he says, I'm gonna find your girlfriend, I'm gonna find your wife, daughter, I'm gonna torture her, she's gonna scream your name. He gives him a promise. Ethan gets pissed, grabs Damien, tries to show him out of the 3,000 feet, But then, because Luther still calmed him down, he doesn't let him go. He doesn't let him to die, so he let him go. So, yeah. When they actually transported Owen Davian, because they capture him, and Musgrove tells them, tells the director of IMF agency, Lawrence Fishburne, when they go on the bridge scene, the mercenaries with helicopter shows up and starts blowing cars to pieces. Great practical effect. Goes and destroy the bridge. And I love when Winger Hames, tells the people get down, and he saves the people that are actually wounded. They go under fire. Mercenaries use machine guns, blows the cars to pieces, and of course I wrote down Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise goes and grabs that automatic weapon. Heckler and Koch GR36K for mercenaries. He used that great automatic weapon, and when they try to free Owen Davian, which they do, they go and free Owen Davian in the transport, in the van, and there's actually a bridge is actually destroyed, and you can see the scene. Tom Cruise goes, runs, and jumps. He jumps. He was in his best shape of his life. That was done for real. It wasn't fake. It wasn't CGI. He really jumped off the bridge, and he did all his own stunts. He jumped. The guy is a god. He jumped. Yeah, I said call him a god because he jumped the bridge, catches himself on the bridge. I actually would crash down if it would be me. But he was in best shape of his life. He pulled himself over. He goes to the car, uses his Heckler & Koch G36K, and goes to final helicopter, and he wastes all the bullets, all the magazine, and Owen Davian with his mercenaries escapes. So now Ethan Hunt, he goes, jumps in a car, Sally couldn't find out which car he was driving. He goes in a car, tries to get his girlfriend. He goes and tries to get his girlfriend. Julia goes to the hospital. In the hospital scene, she goes, when he can't find her, one of the mercenaries stuns Julia, kidnaps Julia, and now Ethan gets a call from Owen Davian, and he gives him 48 hours to find Rabbit's foot and then bring it to him. Rabbit's foot, like I said, it's a biological hazard, more biological weapon. Rabbit's foot is biological weapon because he's an Owen Davian is arms dealer, but he's actually an ally to the Syndicate, which is later in Rogue Nation, and he needs the biological hazard. He needs it to complete the transaction, to complete the sale, and to disappear with the money. And he needs Ethan to steal the rabbit's foot for him in order in the trade to get his wife back. I forgot to mention, but Ethan and Julia gets married in the hospital. Previous they get married because he gets upset that he couldn't save one of his students, Lindsay Ferris, and now Ethan gets captured by his superior director, Lawrence Fishburne. He gets captured. He can't escape. He tries to escape. He gets captured with the stun gun. They actually put him on the bed. They tied him up, but of course, assistant Musgrove, played by assistant John Musgrove, played by Billy Crudup. He goes the disguise that he's very disappointed what Ethan does, but he goes with his lips. And in this movie, Ethan Hunt can read he's a lip reader. He's a lip reader. I remember that scene from Seinfeld TV show, The Lip Reader. He's a lip reader, and Musgrove tells him where he goes, which apartment to Shanghai, and gives him a device in which Tom Cruise escapes. Ethan Hunt escapes, kicks everyone's ass, still the voice from Lawrence Fishburne. And he escapes the hospital. Actually, no, he escapes the IMF facility. He escapes. Then he goes in Shanghai in the apartment, and his team, Musgrove sends his team in order to help Ethan out. They go to Shanghai, which is something that's really different than the second movie. The second movie was only set in a fucking Sydney. You know, this movie, I'm glad that I did not rewatch the second movie again, because I'm tired, because it's forgettable, because it's lame, it's boring as hell. I'm not gonna go. It's painful to watch that movie. I'd rather watch this movie. You know, I'd rather watch this movie. This movie is a kick-ass movie, a kick-ass ball-to-the-wall sequel, in my opinion. Entertaining kick-ass sequel. So his team, Luther Stickle, Declan Gormley, and of course Agent Zen Lee, they show up in order to help Ethan to get the rabbit's foot, and they go in that security building, and there are actually two scenes, and I read it down because that scene is my favorite in the movie. So Ethan says, I'm gonna bungee jump from building to building, and that's what he does. Tom Cruise is a madman. He does his own stunt. And of course I wrote down, because I don't remember that memorable scene, but he goes, he bungee jumps with a rope on the roof. He goes from the roof, jumps with a rope, bungee jumps to get to the next building. You know, from the roof building, the next building, he bungee jumps with the rope on the roof, then slides down the glass roof. He lands on the glass, slides down, and that was done for real, practical done. All stunts. Tom Cruise landed on the glass of the roof and slides down, which is really a courage, which is actually really ballsy to do that. This movie has balls to do that. I think without any safety landing, I think that Tom Cruise could be really injured, just like Jackie Chan. But he did his own stunt. He slid down the roof. Then he catch himself. So that he did not crash down and kill himself. He catches himself probably 2,000, 100,000 feet in the building, you know, which is really ballsy, in my opinion. Then he jumps out of the window with a parachute. He jumps out of the window with a parachute because he stalls rabbit's foot. He jumps off the window with a parachute. Parachute does not open because it does not open correctly because it wasn't long fit enough for the parachute, and he lands through the window. He catches the window, just like Jackie Chan, Police Story 2. He catches the window, lands in the window, and it was safe landing, but no parachute with the wind flies and goes. He keeps continue crashing out of the building, and he flies out of the window. Like I said, he lands with a parachute in the office through the window, but the window flies out of the window because of the wind was carrying the parachute and was flying him out of the window. And so now Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt catches himself with a parachute. He hangs himself with a parachute. He lands on the road. Actually, he hung himself with the rope on some near some building. You know, he hung himself with that parachute. And there's a truck who sees him. He hangs himself. You know, he's hanging in the line position. He's hanging himself. There's a truck sees him. Truck clicks the brakes, and we can see the trailer keeps moving the trailer, and he keeps braking the truck, and Tom Cruise cut himself from the rope, lies on it while the truck goes past by him. Ballsy move, real dangerous stunt. Now you know why it's my second favorite, because all the stunts in this movie Tom Cruise did were dangerous. He's a madman, and to me, my second favorite, it's not my number one, but it's my second favorite Mission Impossible movie. This movie kicks the living balls of John Woo's Mission Impossible 2. This is a pure badass with PG-13 kick-ass balls to the balls action movie of all time. The best one, in my opinion, I have ever seen. Better than John Woo's Garbage Part 2. Now So now his rabbit's foot, when he stands up, rabbit's foot falls down, and now he has to chase rabbit's foot because rabbit's foot keeps moving down the hill. He's now catching rabbit's foot, the biological hazard. He jumps, saves the biological hazard, almost gets hit by a van, but it's actually his team who says him, "Come on, Ethan, let's go." He goes in a van. They've been now chased. Zenley, she's been wounded in her shoulder. She's been wounded. They escape. So now they go to the exact point of the extraction point, and so Ethan now waits for the limo to rise. The limo arrives. Damien Owen in Shanghai. The driver tells him, "Drink." No question. He drinks. He wakes up and tortured, and he asks him, "Where's the rabbit's foot?" He tells him, "But I give it to you." Now count to 10. You know, he shoots his girlfriend in the leg, and on the end he shoots her. And we saw the Tom Cruise life. He completely ends his life. But then it turns out that Musgrave was actually a mole. He was a double agent. He was a traitor. He was a mole, played by Billy Kudrup. John Musgrave was a mole, and it turns out that it wasn't actually Julia. Julia is still alive. Under the mask, it was actually the secretary of Owen Davian. The reason it was his mole, because he wanted to know, because just before Tom Cruise went in the second mission, we saw a cryptic message by Lindsay that someone called from, now I remember, Laura Spiegel played Brussels, from Brussels' office. And she suspected Brussels is actually a mole and is working with he was working with Owen Davian, but actually was actually IMF assistant Musgrave, who was the one. He was the one that did that. He was the one that fucked up everything. He was the one, you know. So yeah, so that actually was. So now they just like to his student Lindsay Ferris, they give him the chip, that explosive device in the head, just like they did to Lindsay Ferris, but because Ethan knows how to survive, he goes and bites Billy Crudup's ear, just like Mike Tyson. He bites his ear, saves himself, goes calls his friend Benji Dunn. Simon Pegg, he has a small role in this movie, but in the next sequels he became one of the team. But Simon Pegg so far plays IMF tech Benji Dan, and Ethan calls him with the caller in the Shanghai and asks him to directions to find him Julia, and watch him how Tom Cruise is running. He was in his best shape of his life, his best running I saw. He runs to the next building, but he keeps running. Watch that running scene. That will be my second favorite scene. He runs and he goes and runs in the building. He says Julia, kicks two bad guys to pieces, says Julia, he shows her how to use a gun, tells him I have an explosive device, so you have to kill me, then you can bring me back, and she does that. He says I love you. She goes with electricity. She goes and kills him so that they destroy the device, and then she uses by massaging his heart, and she brings him back to the life. But before that, two bad guys shoot, and she goes and shoots one of the bad guys, and she shoots Musgrave to pieces, and he had a rabbit's foot, and then of course Satan survives, and now they're now both in the Shanghai, and Ethan saved his girlfriend, says thank you to Benji, tells her that he's an IMF agent. And of course, meantime, Brassel finds out they have to talk, and Musgrave was actually the mole, not Brassel. And on the end, Ethan and Julia, they go happy, and the movie ends. They're all happy. His agents are happy. They congratulations for her because she's married, and they married, and the movie really ends. That's I'm a sucker for a happy endings. I'm a sucker for happy endings. But that was really beautiful. And the movie then ends. Now the direction, J.J. Abrams did a great direction. He was competent director. I think he did great direction. Written was by Alex Kurtzman, Robert Orci, and J.J. Abrams, which are all great. Music score was by Michael Giacchino. Great music score. Not great, good music score. Great sequel. So, like I said, the budget was $150 million. It's actually the first movie that director J.J. Abrams did, and it was actually his first big budget movie that he actually did. Sadly, this movie made less money than the second one, $398 million, but it was improvement over the second one. That was bullshit, because the second one made $500 million almost. Also, Tom Cruise uses Heckler & Koch MP5K 9.90 millimeter in this movie. I love his uniform. I love his costume. Love the uniform. Love his team. And also, rest in peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I saw in Davian. I enjoy him in Along Came Polly. Steven Scott Whitley was serving as a special effects technician. Steven Scott Whitley sued Paramount and Tom Cruise production company for gross negligence after the pyrotechnics in a stunt went wrong, and he was included in a ball of flame, and because he hurt himself, he sued Tom Cruise and Paramount Productions, the company. He sued them. So that's happened on the movie. It was actually with a budget $150 million, the most expensive movie ever undertaken by a first-time feature film director, which is true. J.J. Abrams' first direction movie, it was awesome. It was a badass that he did. He was a great director. I think that, and like I said, Tom Cruise proposed his girlfriend that time Katie Holmes in Eiffel Tower in June 17, 2005, and I saw the interview that time. Yes, I saw an interview when he was ready to do Mission Impossible 3. We only saw one scene, and that was that scene on the when he was on the roof, and we see Luther Stickle watching with this, I don't know how you call them, with those, and he's in Shanghai, that building, and he jumps off that building, and and that's actually that scene. That's actually that scene that was an interview with Katie Holmes. One of the scenes in 2006 I also saw when Michelle Monaghan says that she looks like exactly as Katie Holmes. That's what Tom Cruise wanted. This is Tom Cruise franchise, and that's what Tom Cruise did. Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner did produce this film, all the 3 movies. This is the movie in the trilogy, just like the Fast and the Furious. Tokyo Drift was the 3rd sequel, so Mission Impossible 3 was the 3rd sequel. This is actually more serious improvement. I love this movie to death. I think I actually said almost everything. Philip Seymour Hoffman as Owen Davian did a great job as villain. It has actually great stunts. My favorite scene is still in the Shanghai building when Tom Cruise swings himself as a bungee. He bungee jumps. Then he lands on the roof, on the glass roof, slides down the roof, catches himself like 2,000 feet below. He catches himself. I think then he jumps out of the window with the parachute. When he calls Ellie and what was that guy's name? Zenley and Declan. He jumps out of the window. He lands down with a parachute. That's my favorite scene. He lands in the office, but because of the wind, he flies out of the window, actually lands down on the road, hangs himself, and there's like the truck, which the driver with the truck, and there's like a trailer that keeps moving, and he goes and keeps braking, and Tom Cruise cut himself, lands on the floor, and the trailer goes through him. He goes through him while he lies him there. So that was awesome. That was fantastic scene. That's my favorite scene, in the running scene in Shanghai when Tom Cruise calls Benji with his cell phone and runs. That's another my favorite scene. Those are my favorite scenes. And my third favorite scene would be this scene when Tom Cruise jumps off the bridge, catches himself on the bridge, and hardly climbs the bridge. That's another favorite scene of mine. You know what? This movie is better than True Lies of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'd rather watch this movie, a real spy movie. I would rather watch this movie. This is fantastic too. That's how we do a movie. That's how we do a movie. It's a badass movie. It's my second favorite Mission Impossible film. And one of my personal favorite action movies. And it's a spy thriller. It's an action film. And J.J. Abrams succeeded. Maggie Q did a great job as a IMF agent. Zhen Lei, she did a great job. Maggie Q was great. Maggie Q, fantastic Maggie Q, she was great. Kerry Russell as Lindsay Ferris was also great when she gets killed. I love the helicopter scene. I forgot to mention the helicopter scene. With a helicopter, I think the mercenaries helicopter crashed. Practical effect, great explosions. And that scene I forgot to mention. I also love that scene. The stakes, I'm just gonna read this back. MI3 will push you pulls right past the danger zone. I agree. Peter Travers, Rolling Stones, I agree with him. I'm just gonna roll to the back. The stakes have never been higher. The action has never been hotter. This is Mission Impossible like you never seen it before. Tom Cruise stars as Ethan Hunt in this pool-pounding thriller. Director J.J. Abrams, Star Trek Super 8, lured back into action by his agency superiors. Lawrence Fishburne, Billy Kudrup. Ethan faces his deadliest adversary yet, a sadistic weapons dealer named Owen Davian. Oscar winner Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace, with the support of his IMF team, winner James, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, and Maggie Q. Ethan leaps into a spectacular adventure from Rome to Shanghai as he races to rescue a captured agent. Carol Russell stops and stop Davian from eliminating his next target, Ethan's wife Julia. Bursting with breathtaking excitement and thrill plus twist, this movie delivers. Leonard Martin Entertainment Tonight. It has commentary by Tom Cruise and director J.J. Abrams as they discuss their experience making MI3. Yeah, I do really enjoy this film. Definitely one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. Tom Cruise Mission Impossible films are definitely my favorite. He does. I think the cast did a fantastic job. Yeah, the cast did a fantastic job. Philip Seymour Hoffman did a great job as the villain. It's PG-13, but it's only 2 hours 5 minutes, which is fast paced. It goes quickly around. The action scenes are great. Yeah, it's just I think it's breathtaking excitement and thrill plus twist. This movie delivers. The music score is also great. Direction is great. The cast is great. I don't know what else to say about Mission Impossible 3, but I love this movie to death. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you in the next movie review. And that's gonna be Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol. So I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.